Good afternoon, guys.
Hello.
Welcome to Nashville. I tried to,
That's the speaking mic, right?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely. I tried to look up when the last time you guys were in Nashville, but every time I looked that up, it kept giving me tickets to Phoenix, Arizona. So from Nashville. So, have you guys been here before?
Yes.
To Nashville?
We came. It was a bit frustrating because most of the time we came on our way to somewhere else, so we didn't get to play quite often. Yeah. And it's probably the place where you want to play music the most. So we're happy we can do that today.
Well, we're happy that you're here with us today. How long have y'all been here? Did y'all get here today? Yesterday?
This morning, yeah.
This morning?
Yeah.
So you haven't had much time to do anything, have you?
No.
Well, Nashville is a hell of a town. You guys will not have any problem finding something to do. So
Good.
Very nice. Phoenix live in the Advanced Financial Acoustic Den. Can I ask you a quick question? Are those the same shoes you wore in the Trying to Be Cool video?
These are the same shoes I've been wearing since 8 years, maybe. I'm ashamed.
Very nice.
They look, yeah, you can't fake that they're.
Strong shoes.
But yes.
So for those that don't know, can we talk about you guys as a band? How did you guys come together? How did you meet? How did you guys know that this was going to work?
We met at school, and we grew up in Versailles, which is just outside of Paris, and it's one city. It's probably the opposite of Nashville. There is no music culture there. There is nothing. There's no bar you can play music. So we pretty much started as a band making records, and it's not that we didn't want to play live, but there was no place to play live. There was no audience. So that came later. Before, what was important is what we would make good albums, and then eventually, after a few years, we enjoyed the live, and now it's a big part of our. It's as important as the records, pretty much. But we met at school when we were. They were 6, and then we met, we were 10, and they're brothers.
So you guys,
That's sort of the.
guys bond and gel very well together,
Yes.
I imagine. You guys just did a Reddit Ask Me Anything. Did you guys enjoy doing that? on
Yeah,
Reddit?
it's very strange. It's very interesting. Strange, good strange.
There were some interesting questions that were asked to you guys.
And we didn't answer many of the most intriguing ones, yeah.
I think the question was asked if you guys ever considered going off on your own, doing solo or side projects or things like that, and you had answered, one of you had answered no, that you guys couldn't do it, that you guys, to quote, roughly quote, you guys are not good on your own, but you are great together as a collective.
Yeah, I think it's true that we're taking separately, we're not. I mean, that's how we know that a song will be on the album, is when the 4 of us like it. And that's why we are like this today, because that's how we write songs, so it's back to the studio in a way. But it's when, it's the 4 of us have to agree that when the 4 of us like a song, we know it's going to be on the album, and that's.
Corrupt is a
how we
great album. For
function.
those that haven't checked that out, you really should. It's a really good album. That is y'all's 5th album, right? Bankrupt?
Yes, yeah.
5th studio album. What song on that album, when you listen to it, what was the hardest song to come together, that came together?
They all came. Yeah, all of them. That's probably the hardest album we've had to make. Yeah.
What made that album the hardest?
I think the context, probably, because the previous album, we didn't have any record company, we didn't have a management, so we had to finish a few songs so that people will hear it and get on board with us. And this album, we had some disturbing comfort, which is, everybody's gonna be ready once the songs are ready, everybody's waiting, and we didn't want to play those songs to people. We wanted to keep them for ourselves. So they all, pretty much the last 2 weeks, they all revealed themselves. And we had to, nothing was on paper, everything was in our head the whole time. So it was very tiring to sleep and think of the songs and not have them ready to play to your friends but that's what we wanted. That was the point of it.
So was there a sense of nervousness on like the eve of release date for that album? Were you guys just kind of, you've released 4 albums previous. On this 5th one, you would think maybe You might be a little calmer, but were you guys super nervous about the release of this album?
Yeah, but I think we've learned that the next day, when you release an album, you expect the world to change, but it doesn't. And and I think we learned that after all, even if it's a success, it always takes a while. It's always a strange, somewhere it will connect with people, and somewhere else you thought it would, but it so we're just making records, and we'll see what happens everywhere, but it's different. It's never what we expected. It's always, and that's what's nice. Otherwise there'll be a formula, and it'll be evil to try to be successful, please everyone. It's, yeah.
Well, you guys played tonight at Marathon Music Works. Would anybody in the audience like to ask Phoenix a question? Does anybody have a question for the band? Somebody? Somebody's got to have a question. Any other questions? Go for it.
No, that's what's strange. I mean, what was interesting is when we started to go see record companies that were French with, we never chose to sing in French or in English. It just came like that. And when we would go see them, they would say, it's good, but you have to sing in French. And we thought it was interesting because it was disturbing them, and there was something that wasn't more of the same. It was a way to create a new language in a way. We didn't try to copy what was English spoken music, and at the same time, it felt like we would talk about French things, but to everybody else, instead of just more of the same, just talking to people in Paris. Or it was interesting for us that we would go, that it was going everywhere. I think.
Anybody else have a question?
We like them all. It's true. I mean, it's not the obvious. I wouldn't be. But we have better shows in Salt Lake City than in Los Angeles, for instance, because I feel like people there watch less shows, and it's a bigger moment for kids there than in LA, where you can see many shows and the conditions are so, there's if the support is not a giant other band, people are it's so usually, yeah, it's in, you never know, but the very small places somewhere, even it doesn't matter if it's in America, in France, or yeah, just Holland has been very bad for us all the time. I have no idea why. That's the one country where it's always a bad show. That's the only rule. We always miss our shows in Holland for some reason. Sorry? We lied so much about the origins of the name that we forgot the truth, which is pretty sad. But I think it was empty enough so we could put our own world in it. So I think that's what we liked, that it was, and it looked good. We love fonts, and we love graphic design and all these things. So that was part of it too.
Is there an artist or group that continues to inspire your sound?
So many now, so many. Maybe Serge Gainsbourg, he's a French guy. If you have to know one guy from France, it's Serge Gainsbourg. He has a very long career. He had from the 60s until the song is good. He's a huge inspiration for every French artist.
In France, we have one guy instead of, here you have Elvis, Prince, Michael Jackson. there's only one guy that represents them all. So he's pretty weird, and he's pretty. But it's one guy. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah. We would sneak in the castle at night. There's only one guard there because there's no security in the castle for some reason because no one thinks to go there. So we would sneaking at night and play in the gardens, and we played laser tag when we were 13 in the castle. That was really good, yeah.